like this, like the brush is parallel with the surface almost. So you're actually you're spackling it in, kind of like a palette knife, you know. But this guy was doing this sort of thing, He's brushing this and this, and that's so important for that technique that he used, Very, very important. And so those are the little things I think that can make or break something, that can really make an improvement, on your on your on your results, the outcomes, So that's why I wanted to end this thing, again, the brush stroke, how you hold a brush, and then the actual paint. And how can I say this? I think, say for example, like if you try to paint a tree, and you want to do it with a brush stroke, and you wanted to, um, if you try to follow the outline of a tree, like with a round brush, and you go, well, it's this and the clusters of and illustrated and all, that might work. You might look out, might work. But another way to do it is to take your brush and to do things with your brush that are not normal. Say like where you rotate the brush, like in a kind of a, and then you do enough of those all over the place, and then you start to see the tree sort of evolve, not from a sort of a willful direct illustration, but more from some result of how you hold the brush, because you're not in total control of it. See, one of the things that abstract artists, at least, or impressionist artists, one of the things that they try to do is to create the effect of their painting, not so much by being so correctly, illustrative or representational, but finding another means towards that end that will give you a believable, that'll give you a more authentic result. And in a way, I think it's part of that is that people try to remove themselves from the will, because if you're so determined and so willful, it may work against you. There's something about the not accidents, but the technique coming through a more natural way, kind of like automatic drawing. And we talked about that before. So it's very fascinating, this art business, It's not exactly always what you think. So anyway, I wanted to go over this, the glazing, and I want to talk about that a little bit. I do portraits. I like to do portraits. So most of them are portraits, and most of them are in watercolor. You can do them in acrylic the same way I do the watercolor. So I wanted to share that with you guys. For Zia, anyway, she was asking about glazing. Now, my glaze technique is very open. It's very loose. It's not like tight. It's very, very, very. To me, it is anyway. I don't know. Maybe somebody else might think it's tight. But here's an example. This is a portrait I did of a friend, and these are watercolors. So you can see the brush line work and everything. You can see the how the colors are layered, and you can see here that all of the white that's in the picture is not paint. It's all the transparency of the wash. So you'll see, like planes. So I try to emphasize planes, and I do it through layering. And I start light to dark. I start with yellows or with light reds, and then I go to the darker colors, like in the neck area. So that's usually, and I rely on the brush stroke. So all of this stuff, these are all brush strokes. So it's an impression, and I leave holidays. I call these holidays. See all these little white specks? I call them holidays. That's part of the gesture of the painting. The background is kind of layered in gray, but the figure is all brush strokes. And these are all brush strokes, brush strokes, brush strokes, brush strokes. And I try to find the planes to the form. you know. And these are done from life. I didn't do them from photographs. These are done from persons sitting there, right? So this is example. Here's another, the beginning of a painting. You can see here the multiple brush strokes. You got yellow and blue. There's blue underneath everything, and then there's red over it. So you can see here how this is all glazing. There's no white here at all, no white paint, all just brush strokes of color working from light to dark. So in this case, the whole thing's done in blue with a blue wash, a blue line. The whole drawing is done in blue, and then the next color. So I did blue first, then the yellow. So the yellow makes the greens. It starts to make the yellow greens because of the blue underneath the yellow, and that's creating the green. And then the reds go on top of that, and they get violet, and they get dirty in some parts, but you see how it starts to mute, and all skin tone is muted. So it makes sense you would use these colors and allow them to mute a little bit. In some places you want to keep them clear. In other places you want to get them to tone down, to lose the intensity. Here's one of a guy, but this one I laid in more color. This definitely has a lot of color in it. So you can see here again, all this is glazing. All this stuff down here is glazed, the ear, all that. And the hair, there's no white, it's just paint strokes. But everything is a paint stroke. And I got a chance to really look at this guy, with the shadow and the hat. That's all glazed, and the colors and whatnot, and line work. So breaking up the composition with these lines, point, counterpoint. This parallels his face, and then you have the hat going this way. So it's a very kind of an action, movement of the directional lines leading you in. Here's another example of a beginning of a painting. You can see here the painting was started with the blue wash, but I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be cobalt green mixed with something, or phthalo green, really diluted. And then after that's put down, go over it with the cool red, and see you start getting the flesh tone. But see, it's all brush strokes. It's really an illusion. It's all brush strokes. See the plane here, the light, everything has a wash. The ear, see the ear is broken. The ear is done the way, if you look at those paintings by George Post or Milton Avery, when they do tree trunks, they do cast shadows and light. The ear is treated like that. It's fractal into brush strokes. And that fractal creates a depth, a certain amount of depth, It just does, Here's another one. This was done on different kind of paper. This one here is you can see there's blues and whatnot. This is all glazing, the chin area, all of that, the cast shadow, everything is glazed. And the secret to this business is so much fun is to find the step from the shadow into the light. There's a certain magical point where the two values are perfect, and in the person's mind, they read as shadow and light. It's just this balance between the values of the shadow and then the light. And then if you look at the hair's not done like real hair. It's just fake. It's just made of planes of color, brown, with different values, and then line work. And then on top of that, kind of like the way George Post did trees, same thing, same idea. Here's another one, the same lady done it slightly different, a different way. This is the same lady, and I know it doesn't look like her, but anyway, here the skin tone is a little bit more softer. I try to keep the values not so harsh. This one's a little stronger. This one's a little smoother. But then I simplified the hair. The hair is just phthalo green value, and then with these strong, uh, I added some color to the phthalo and just real strong line work. That's all it is. It's fake. Same thing with her outfit. It's just brushwork. Different colors. Violet, yellow. Different colors, and so it gives you that look. And here's this one too. You can see here the beginning. You can see the brush strokes really well. Started in blue. Everything is in blue, and then go over that with the yellows and the greens and things like that. This one wasn't finished, but you can see how the process starts. It's very gestural. Here's one this one is a guy lives up the street from where I live, and he posed for us. And all of this, there's no white in this at all. It's all negative. It's all negative. How can I say this? It's negative positive. There's no white paint in any of this at all. It's either just the paper coming through the film, and then sometimes you can lift. You take a brush. For example, if you're painting, you can take a brush, the back end of a brush, and lift off paint. Make a negative line where you're actually lifting the paint off. That sort of thing. So yeah, there's a bunch of them, and here's another layer, another person. It's all layered, But then I balance the layering and the shapes with a little bit of line work. But I try not to be too tight. I want to do it loosely, so that it breathes a little bit. So there's a lot. I got a lot of them. So I'll show you some other time. But anyway, just wanted to show you that so you get an idea that in acrylic, this is really possible. The whole idea of glazing like this, that's a different kind of glazing. If you look at the glazing the way Charlotte did that I was showing Zia